So I'm going to talk about a project that I'm doing for more than last 10 years. It's about the old town. We call it in Bangla Puran Dhaka, which is not Puran at all, because you go there and you see all these ugly big constructions and nothing to do with old Dhaka. But I will read few lines that I have wrote as a thanks note in my book, so it will give you a context what I'm going to talk about. I don't know how to start here. It's impossible to remember the names of the people I encountered in last 10 years. It didn't start as a project though. It started as my infatuation with the part of the town. I could relate it to the childhood city Kumilla, with strong feeling of neighborhood, old buildings from colonial time, and small alleys where I would get lost with my bicycle. So this is a photograph of my family. I'm on the extreme left on my uncle's lap. I think it's 1985. And you can see the kind of architecture. This was, I think, my parents' first rented house where I have grown up. So for me, when I started working in Old Dhaka, it was like any of the photograph I know. It was one of the most exotic place. You have these amazing characters, this beautiful architecture, beautiful food. But I was more interested about these small moments. Like I have seen this exactly same scene in my childhood with my grandmother, mother, and my sister. So for me, Old Dhaka is about a certain kind of human warmth, because people still have time there to talk with each other. They have still time to fight. They have still time to stand in a corner of an alley and have a cup of tea. And like here in this photograph, there's a guy called Pintu. He was like just one of those characters you can see in Old Dhaka. I will tell you his story later. This is one of the photographs in a small alley before you go to Shakhari Bazar called Pani Tola. This was one of the places where I have worked year after year. And like I used to work with one of my mentor called Abir Abdullah, and we used to call it like Khoni for photographers. So it's a project that I've done over 10 years. Why 10 years? Because it's a space where you will get lost. And there is so many different little things you can discover. And for me, it was fascinating to meet these people who came for me for real book. Like I was really inspired by literature of Akhtaruজ্জামান Ilyas and Shohil Zohir, especially a book called Chilekotar Shepai. And when I used to work there, that was a time of film. So we used to have these contact sheets and we used to go to the dark room and develop. It was a fascinating time. And slowly has Old Dhaka changed, and I have also grown up as a photographer. And the more I have spent time there, I have seen in front of my eyes how the Old Dhaka is shifting. Because the people who lives in Old Dhaka, for them this old building doesn't have any meaning, because it's really hard to maintain them. The government doesn't give them any support, and we just give them a name called heritage, and they're fed up with this whole heritage thing, because they have this growing family, and they need spaces for their sons. So I think we really need to start a dialogue. And for me, I have met so many unique characters. Like in this photograph, you see this guy, who goes to shop in early morning and just share the smell of this perfume. We call it dhup in Old Dhaka. And it's so lovely. I think Old Dhaka gives a space to these small characters, which you will not find in these newly constructed urban cities. And for me, Old Dhaka is a living theater. You go to Old Dhaka, you see like 10, 12, 15 things happening at the same time. So one of my target was, trying to capture those layers in one frame. So if you look at this photograph, this is in Farashganj. You go at the time of 11, 12 of the day, the traffic is so much, you don't have a space even to walk. But somehow they manage, and for me, this chaos has a beauty, this chaos has a rhythm. This is in Shodoghat, early morning. You can see how the boats are going from one place to another place. This is in Madan Mohan Shah Lane. And on the left, the building you are seeing is a huge building. Now you can see only the wall from outside, and you go inside, you will see all the buildings are destroyed. So Meera Sarkar, wife of one of the famous photographer Bijon Sarkar, having a cup of tea in the roof. And on the back, you see the hostel of Chobi Mela hostel, and you see how the guys are jumping from one place to another place. And these little corners have really beautiful moment. And now, we make this in Dhanmondi. Gulshan Iqbal Bhai showed us some photo of these huge flats, but there is no space for people really to talk, really to stand somewhere, have a cup of tea. And yeah, I remember a few days back, I don't know when, I have heard a story I guess in Baridhara, that the rickshawala have to wear a pant. And we live in this ridiculous world where we have this all colonial gaze. This is one of the most oldest gym in Sodorghat. Now it's broken. And I remember when I went there in 2004, you see all these macho guys, really working hard. And they're playing these songs from 90s from Sanjay Datta and Jackie Shroff. It was beautiful. He was one of the top model. I'm sure maybe he's still now, Asif Azim, in Lal Bagh. And for me, Old Dhaka is interesting because it lives with these multiple layers and contradictions. So you go in one place, you will see somebody's playing a classical music, and you go another street, you will see somebody playing these crazy Hindi songs. So like this lady, I think her name is Bashanadi. I think I went there again after 5-6 years to give her the photographs back. She lives in this one room. Her son died long time back. And when I gave her the photograph, she couldn't recognize herself after 5 years. And it's beautiful to go back to these people and, just sit there and have a cup of tea and talk. So if you read first 2 pages of Ilyas Chilekota Shepai, you will understand this meaning of kua. And when you go to this kua, and in Old Dhaka, the sense of privacy is very different because a lot of old buildings doesn't have, a lot of family lives there together. So in every single room, there's a different family. So they have to share these common spaces. And when you share these common spaces, you build some kind of relationships which are beautiful. But now we live in flats, we live like just next door, we don't know who is living there. So, because I've worked 10 years, I used to live in Bokshi Bazaar, then I've moved to somewhere else, and it's difficult to go back to Old Dhaka. So at that time, I started to stay in beauty boarding, a beautiful small boarding house, a guy called Tarokda who runs it. And we used to walk all over Old Dhaka. I was lucky I have some friends who shows me these small, beautiful alleys. And for a lot of people, Old Dhaka is about traffic. And if you really live in Old Dhaka, there is much more space than New Dhaka. There is much more silence. There is much more space where you can just stand and feel, the environment. This is in front of my old house in Bokshi Bazaar, horse sleeping. Superman flying on the whole wall. And for me, photography is a beautiful thing because it gives you a chance to meet people that you will never meet as a normal human being, because Bangladesh is a society where the class structure is very strong, and the camera gives you excuse to go anywhere, from extreme rich to extreme poor. You can just enter anywhere, and for some reason, people love here to be photographed, which is exactly opposite. If you go to Paris, London, New York, people will be freaking out if you put them, in your camera. So for me, it was also interesting to see how people celebrate festivals in Old Dhaka. Like this is in Shakrines, end of Bangla New Year. So if you go on the top of the route of the evening, everybody's playing with the fire. If you go there at Durga Puja, at Moharram, at Korbaneri, there is some kind of collective spirit, I think, which is very special. This is me giving long exposure, I think, in Lal Kuti. I was lucky that I have these beautiful people who helped me to do the project. Arfan, Hilal, Russell, Tanzim, Asif, a lot of different people. So when I was staying somewhere else, so I was staying in beauty boarding. So it's very important where you walk for me that, you need to sleep there and you need to wake up early in the morning with the community. You can't just go there and walk 2 hours and have a biryani and come back. You will never get the essence of the place. Then you have to walk as a foreigner. Editing photographs in the ceiling, So this is Ranajit Pal Chaudhuri, one of the character of Akhtar John's Ilyas story Quarry. And I used to go there. He's a single man, and you will see only cigarettes and coffee packets in his room. And he was telling me how Ilyas was right 20 years back when he wrote this story, and how he have described how the Muslims are taking lands of Hindus in the neighborhood. Ronapa is now not there, but it was really fascinating to meet this guy. And they live in such a small space, maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, but they still have a space for this cat, which is for me beautiful. Interior of a house. And I think we are kind of special nation, we have turned the color of the river into black. I think very few countries can do that, and we should get an award for it. We are so proud. One of the most oldest cinema hall called Manshi Cinema Hall. Now everybody is breaking the cinema hall and making, super malls, but this is still there. And look at the grandness of this building, And I wish people who live in this city, we really care for these spaces, because after 20 years, 30 years, there will be nothing, and we will only go to Paris, and we will only go to Benares or Venice, and we will say how beautiful it is. But we have so many things in our country, but we really don't know how to preserve them. Durga on her way, and especially now if you go there at night, so because there is so much fear within the community, they break these grand buildings in one day, in one night, just gone. You go the next day and there is nothing. This is one of the 19th century grand building, and we use it as a warehouse of, rice, onions, and different things, We are really special. This is one of the beautiful mosques in Koshaituli, and they have this lovely space in front of the mosque. And you go there 12 at night, and you see still full of people, having a cup of tea and talking with each other. And there's so much life. I have to wait 10 years to take this photograph. This is in the time of Mohsen, when the cyclone happened. And, it goes so quickly, but, I hope when people will look at this work after 50 years in a library or somewhere else, they will get a glimpse of the warmness that I've got in Old Dhaka. This is in Bulbul Lolitakala Academy, one of the beautiful buildings. And Old Dhaka is full of characters, character from live movies. Kids playing with a knife, crossing the road. And this is my first exhibition in Shakari Bazaar. They have this community space where they used to have wedding, and they used to have this puja. Now the space is not there. And I think I have done my exhibition on jute mill workers there, and there were so much interesting people from all parts of the society. And I think if you exhibit your work in Gulshan and Dhanmondi, you really don't find people who really want to engage with you. And you see this character who just came back from the office, and it's still time to read the caption and look at the photographs. And I remember Tarugda thinks that after my exhibition, Sheikh Hasina has changed her policy, which is a completely misunderstanding. But they believe, with your photographs or with your action, you can change a lot of different things. This is Bimolda in beauty boarding. This guy serves food there. He's a real performer. If you go there to have lunch, he will tell you what to eat. And this is all of his friends. Chowk Bajar, Iftari. Hosni Dalan in the time of Muharram. Before the wedding. So this is where Pintu took me. I remember when I met him in the time of Holi, he was just one of the characters, A lot of people get drunk at that time. And he told me, come, I will show you one thing. And I was thinking, oh, this is one of another guy who will just do the chapabaji. But Abibhai was with me, and he was telling me, Wasif, let's go, let's see what we can see here. And we went with him. He took us in one of the alleys, and we go upstairs, and you know how the stairs are in Shakari Bazaar, really, really thin. And when I went upstairs, there was a beautiful courtyard, and there was a beautiful family celebrating Holi. And I don't know how I have taken this photograph, because I think I was in France, and these people were also in France, but it was beautiful. So that's it. This is story about Old Dhaka. And this is the map from 1869. This is all the name of the street I have went to. And this is the book that we published last year from France, a publisher called Clementina de la Ferraune, who published this book. I hope, after 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, when people will look at this book, they will still understand how beautiful was our old Dhaka. Thank you so much.